Yo, 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 what is up? Oh man, what a day it already has been. Um, so I think everything is looking good on my end. Hopefully, everyone can hear the music and me and all that good stuff. Um, all right. Welcome, welcome. I am so incredibly excited. This is a chapter that we are getting right before we go on a 2 week break. So I'm excited. I plan on having some good stuff to keep up that break week time, but we'll see how things go. Um, it is a lovely day and I am ready to get into it. I do have some stuff coming up for you. Until told otherwise, I'm probably going to be doing a live reaction stream with Chestnut on Sunday for Black Clover's latest 2 chapters. I got a theory live stream in the near future with The Broker. And I am currently cooking up some other stuff that is going to be coming your way soon. Um, Thank you guys always for showing up. Please like, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you're in the TikTok live, please make sure to follow over there as well. And even come over to the YouTube and subscribe if you're feeling so generous. But this is going to be a good chapter. I can feel it. Oda doesn't tend to do these breaks without giving us plenty of food for thought to keep us guessing over the course of these next 2 weeks. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, we got chapter 1130, The Accursed Prince. Ooh, that is reeking of Loki. We are getting Loki, everyone. Guaranteed. I'm feeling it. All right, let's get into the cover story. Whoa. It says Oni Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 17. And excuse me. It says someone steals the katana while they're asleep. What? Bro, they have to take that shit over. Like, what? Hidden Panda says enjoy the chapter, man. I plan to. Hopefully it is a banger. I'm feeling like it's gonna be a banger, so let's continue. Who would steal the katana? And also, where's Shinobu? Weird. But I wonder if all these things are tied together. The person who steals the katana is also stealing women. What isn't this person stealing? Could be pretty interesting. Don't have too much on it, but if someone is stealing the katana, that means that it is about to pop off a little bit in the cover chapters. Which is very good because these have been subtly, yeah, they're kind of lately. So hopefully they give us something good. Let's get into Oda's notes. I've been watching a drama called Omusubi to unwind after chapter deadlines. It's cheerful and bright vibe is very soothing. Bro's like, I've been writing some pretty dreadful, some dark chapters, and I need to get back on my happy shit. So I need to watch something uplifting. All right, let's jump into it. We got Frankie and the other giants getting together. So we are with the other Straw Hats right now. And Frankie says, "Listen up, warriors. We're calling off the search." And it says, "What? We ain't found squat after all this searching." And it says, "But I'm sure it'll be fine. You can bet your ass they're alive. Thanks for looking, though." Yo, Frankie looks so tough, dude. The leather jacket, it's kind of a dope thing. Not gonna lie. And he said, Robin says, "That's right. We'll just wait for them on Elbaf. They'll make their way there." And Jinbei says, "Yeah, we've done all we can. Even my shark network is worn out. We appreciate your efforts." Brooke said, "We're also out of food. Let's not starve ourselves to death." Yo ho ho ho. Broggy says, "I see. I'm sure it'll be fine if their crew says so. It's decided. Set our course for Elbaf, you slimy oafs. Yeah, let's toast our homecoming. But boss, we're out of food and booze. Gaga." And Luffy says, "It's huge. Check out this tree. It's got to be thousands of years old, right? It's not just that one. They're all so big." Mm. "It's freaking cold here. Is this a mountain? Looked like their super long rope bridge." Interesting. So, hmm. So they bust through the castle wall, and we get to see that it's snowy here. Interesting. And this castle's kind of like off on its own. And it says, "This place is so vast, it's making me dizzy." And they say, "Giants are crossing the bridge. Hide." And it says, "Creak, creak." New giant pirates ship's doctor, Gerd. New giant pirates cook, Goldberg. And it says, "I don't get Hadruden. Why'd he let that crackpot join the crew in the first place?" It's because he's a skilled navigator. I can't stand him. They may call Loki the shame of Elbaf, but he deserves that title even more. Dang, they do not vibe, dog. I will say Gerd is kind of a baddie. It's very interesting. And then it says, "Dig, yeah. Rodo probably wouldn't mind you calling him that." And Gerd says, "You're sure of what you saw, Piper? His crow was carrying a small ship, right?" Hoot. And it says, "We're meant to arrest intruders, but Rodo keeps smuggling in intruders of his own." And they're all like hiding. And it says, "Get back, Luffy." "But they look like nice people." Wait. "We'll let Elder Ja Rule. That's one of the original like giant pirate kings or whatever, because they were rolled by like two. It was like Ja Rule and Joe Rule or something. No, as soon as we find them." Did you guys hear that? They said Elbaf, we finally made it. And Sanji's like, "I never thought I'd see such a giant babe. Hey, over here, moron. Didn't you hear them? They're looking for intruders." Probably our imagination, right? "Rodo, you there?" Wow, it's shaking. It's so long. We better hurry. We'll have nowhere to go if more come. This was made for giants. The gaps are too big. Keep going, Nami. I used to cross a rope bridge like this all the time. You get used to it. This is just a trial to prove we're worthy warriors. The forest below is full of huge wolves. And it says, "What's wrong, Luffy? You feel that? I'm getting goosebumps." Luffy sensing something. And that's sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. I will say, I do like the other giant warrior pirates. Or the new, yeah, they're part of the new giant pirates. And Sanji says, we can't go see, right? And you can't go either. All forests from now on are off limits. And Luffy says, I heard something back in the block country too. A roar. It's gotta be coming from down there. And Luffy just jumps down. He said, I'm going ahead. What? Hey, Luffy, this is nothing to Usopp the Brave Warrior. And it's like, where are you going? The wolves are down there. Yeah, Juan Sherry knows, because he said, remember when he said sensed the same thing with Saturn? Yeah. It's like an ominous type deal, and he's rushing straight in again. He says, where are you going? The wolves are down there. And then like the snow continues. And it says what? We attacked Egghead? According to the morning paper. Why would they lie like that? It's too small to make out. I'll read it aloud. The giant warrior pirates have awoken after a century-long absence. They set Egghead ablaze with Emperor Straw Hat Luffy. The captains of the legendary crew, Broggy the Red Ogre and Dory the Blue Ogre, have received new bounties of 1.8 billion berries apiece. They changed our bounties. Yo, this is getting kind of crazy. And he says, 1.8 billion? We didn't intend on making a comeback. Your bounties used to be only 100 million. That's quite a jump. And Robin says, prices would have changed a great deal in the last 100 years. This amount seems reasonable for you captains. It says, they're also blaming Luffy for Vegapunk's murder. You know, something that I noticed instantly is the fact that Luffy, in this picture, has the X on the back of his arm, from when he, when they were in Alabasta. I wonder if that was like intended to be a message to Vivi during all this. So, I mean, this is just really interesting. One, it's interesting that they actually brought up the Giants. I thought maybe they were just going to glaze over that. But that is interesting. I'm just wondering where Luffy's heading. Okay, let's keep it going. Frankie said, they're always changing the narrative. It's like, haha, so you guys killed me, huh? And it's Lilith. That's funny. Frankie says, shut up. We fought tooth and nail to save you. And Brooke says, when was this taken? The WEJ somehow always gets their scoop, even on Egghead. Oh, it's for later. Notice the Straw Hats who know about the Xing here. Always gets their scoop, even on Egghead. Whoever took this picture probably got a handsome reward. Hey, when Luffy turns into that freedom form of his, does he normally get this mark on his arm? Not sure he was hopping around too much to see for me. It seems off. His arm is blurry, but the mark is crystal clear. Why worry about it? It just seems familiar. So the straw hat is officially on the similar standing as red hair, right? Okay, so that's very interesting. I love this because that means that Vivi is with News Morgan, right? News Morgan, Big News Morgan is printing these papers. And she said that mark on his arm, not sure he was hopping around too much for me to see. It seems his arm is blurry, but the mark is crystal clear, meaning it was made after post production, meaning that Vivi probably took the paper and marked the X on the original print for them to copy as a symbol that when Luffy and crew sees this, they'll be like, oh shit, that's what that mark wasn't there when they took that picture when I was on Egghead. But if someone is putting that mark, that means it's Vivi. And that means Vivi is with Big News Morgan. Like this could all be drawn from that conclusion. That's genius. And then the Straw Hats know where to go to get to Vivi because that was the biggest thing that Zoro pointed out, right? He said, why would we just go searching all about? We don't even know where Vivi is. And now this is a pure fucking Scooby Doo clue of, hey, Vivi is with Big News Morgan. That's awesome. Dory says, so Straw Hat is officially on similar standing as Red Hair. Yeah, exactly. Really nice in-story callback. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's so good. I love this. So Straw Hat is officially on the similar standing as Red Hair, right? It says, even that whippersnapper of ours, Hadrudin, is under your umbrella, I hear. That rambunctious brat is the king's own kid, you know. Oh, this is interesting. I did not foresee this. If Hadrudin is Loki's kid, that's super interesting. Frankie says, really? He wanted to come fetch you himself, but we had seniority. Besides, someone's got to keep an eye out for trouble in Elbaf. It says, trouble? It started back while our captains were missing. See, Elbaf has another prince. It says he's devoted himself to darkness, and a few years ago, he was sentenced to crucifixion. He tried to flee, but we warriors all came together to catch him. When he was born, they called him the Accursed Prince. Interesting. Is it going to be Loki or is it going to be Thor? And Frankie said, what? All the warriors of Elbaf? His name wouldn't happen to be. Yeah, he's not right in the head. You see, there's a legendary devil fruit said to be passed down through the royal family. His desire to eat it was so great that he killed his own father, King Harold. That's why we won't let the accursed prince loose again. If Loki ever does escape, it'll be the end of everything. He's the shame of Elbaf. Very interesting. I thought Loki was going to be the good one, and oh shit. Here we go. It's a giant who's chained up in the forest. covering his eyes, and it says, "State your name." And Luffy says, "I'm Luffy, the man who's going to be king of the pirates." And Loki says, "King, where is this place? Who are you?" And he said, "This is Warland, the mighty kingdom of Elbaf. They say it is the birthplace of war. I am the sun god who will bring about the end of the world. Loki. Everything's gone crazy." Fuck. Ooh, you know what? I really like the design of Elbaf. Holy shit. Elbaf versus Elbaf. To be transparent, Elbaf was officially Romanized for the first time in Japanese source at the end of this chapter. However, we've chosen not to update our spelling from Elbaf at this time, as revising all our previous chapters would be daunting task. Additionally, we don't view this as an urgent plot relevant change, unlike Raftel becoming Laugh-Tale. We also expect Elbaf to remain the more popular, as the PH is an unconventional choice here, and the fan base has long associated Elbaf with Fable. It's important to note that the romanization wasn't from Oda's original artwork, like the spelling on bounty posters, but instead a graphic made during Jump lettering phase. Such graphics inconsistent in the past. For example, the names like Shilu and were later changed to Shiryu, and Reverie were once rendered as Levely. Furthermore, since Elbaf has no prior official romanization, it seems probable that the editorial staff simply referred to in the conclusion. We see room for doubt and believe it premature to change the spelling without further consideration. Okay, I see. Okay, we got four god fruits from Skypiea. Very interesting. So let me start by saying I love the way that Elbaf looks. The ice underneath, then the tree base, as well as basically the center part of the tree, and then the buildings above, um, and all the stuff that is happening as far as like the sword on the side, which is very interesting, um, to the right, and then the rest of the tree above. So when they talked about Yggdrasil, the world tree, when they show the graph, it basically looks as though there's like three realms. There's like the like lower realm, and then there's like Midgard where humans reside, and then there's like um was it like Niflheim or whatever, where like all there's a lot of realms in Elbaf, but like the three main ones are like well, what's interesting is like in a lot of like mythology, Viking mythology, there's like the frozen hell, which is inhabited by the frost giants, which is pretty much exactly where Loki is currently. um and that's really interesting just because of the fact that um Loki was said to be a in like Marvel, and I'm pretty sure in the actual myth, that he was like an adopted son from the frost giants. So to have him here, very interesting. And then to have the gigantic sword to the right is a very very interesting choice. One of which I would love to see what they might do with it. I know that the original sun god, when you see him, has a spear and a sword. Um, so could this possibly be the sword that the sun god originally left? Um, could be. Um, Very interesting that, all these people had to gang up on him, and like Juan Carey said, did Shanks help chain him? I hope. It would be very interesting to find out that you would have needed a Yonko and company to actually take him down. And the interesting thing I feel like is, hmm, he's devoted himself to darkness, and a few years ago he was sentenced to crucifixion. Blah 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 blah. And it said, yeah, he's not right in the head. You see, there's a legendary devil fruit said to be passed down through the royal family. Um, it could be very well, excuse me, that um the legendary devil fruit that they're talking about is one of the god fruits, right? Um, it could also be like several other ones, like, you know, um, even if it was something similar to like a what is it, like the Odin fruit, like mythical model Odin or something, like there could be very much like a lot of different mythologies and or gods that they take from for this. And we have like the earth god, the rain god, and the forest god left. And honestly, if I was a betting man, I would say that this fruit, if it was a god fruit, is probably um the earth god or the rain god. Because I don't subscribe really to the thought process that dragon is the rain god. Um oh, my wife is in the chat. Hey babe. Um, and then Hidden Panda said Loki doesn't seem to know what a pirate king is, which implies that he's probably been chained for at least over 20 years when Roger didn't become pirate king yet. So I don't think Shanks helped. So I can actually kind of debunk that, Hidden Pandas. So if we look, let me hold on. Now I gotta look this up. Okay, yeah, ad blocker, good stuff. Um, so what is her name? Fuck. Was it Lola? One Piece? Charlotte Lola. What is her age? Okay, so she is 26 currently. Um, and she would have had to have been at a certain age most likely to actually be promised to Loki. So it says before she ran away, or she was Toto Land's Minister of Chocolate. Before she ran away after being arranged to marry Prince of Elbaf Loki, um, until she finally. Okay. So I would want to say that the way that he's representing it and being like king, I think he's more or less questioning this man as a king, not so much that he's questioning what pirate king is. He probably just doesn't know because the Elbaf doesn't really associate too much with the outside world. Um, but I would say that if this guy who looks to be, I don't know, not a child, I'll say that. And Lola, who is only 24 pre-skip, 26 post-skip. And I would say that she was probably promised when she was like 16 or some shit. I would say. So Pirate King existed by then. So I think Shanks could have helped in this thing. In fact, it could be that the reason why they were successful in taking care of Loki um, was because of Shanks and his strength. So I wouldn't really put it past Shanks to have been part of this. It could have been why they've garnered such good relationships. So there's definitely a possibility. Um, So it's definitely a very interesting thing we got going on here. Let me see here. Okay, so if I can take this picture. Okay, so if you guys are looking down in the corner, uh, it looks like there is a lot of truth to this. So, okay, so I was right. So it goes Niflheim, which is where like it's the world of ice and world of ice, fog, and mist, which makes sense. They were in that mist that kind of got them. Um, and then the next level of the tree is Midgard, then Asgard. And then there are branches all about that go to the um other different areas, being like Helheim, Nidavellir, Jotunheim, Vanheim, Alfheim, and Muspelheim. What is that? Muspelheim? Yeah, whatever. But anyway, but the main makeup of the world tree is Niflheim, which is the ice area, then Midgard, then Asgard. So it's super interesting that the base of it happens to be ice. The mid part seems like a normal area, and we don't see the top. And I think there's a reason for that. Because that is where Asgard probably is. That is where probably the current king is. Um, so super cool. I'm not sure how to say that name, but Ebenezer, Ebenezer, um, says, "Yo, what up? Appreciate you. You think Luffy could end up befriending Loki, sort of like a Momo Shirahoshi?" I think it's possible. Honestly, um, but what I think is more likely, if I was a betting man, is that this guy is going to be evil. Luffy's going to release him unknowingly, and it's going to be back to we have to take care of this. Or we could go with that thought process, and once Luffy actually shows him the true sun god by being himself, he will put an end to this, and then Loki will see the error of his ways. That's always a possibility. But very interesting because I mean he is basically he's basically he got the same vibes from an elder as he did from Loki. So that makes me think that these guys are not good. I do like the way Loki looks. I love how they've incorporated the horns, which is so normal Loki. Um, and he looks like a bad dude. He looks like he'd fuck some shit up. Um, Another thing. Oh, do I think he has conquerors hockey? Oh yeah. I I think that someone who wanted to be king, wanted the legendary devil fruit, and was willing to kill his father for his ambition and everything that goes along with it, I think he's a conqueror. I really do. Um, one thing that I think is interesting is he does have some tattoos. Looks interesting. Like they almost look like wings on his arms. So that could be pretty interesting. Um, but yeah, the overall this chapter is hell yeah. So let's start from the top. So cover story. It needs to go places faster, I think, but I think we're finally getting there to the meat and potatoes. I love the Straw Hats just being like, yeah, they're smart, they're strong, like they'll make it to Elbav. Let's just call off the search. So that was cool. Um, Luffy and the others' interaction. What I think is really interesting is we really don't get to see what Rodo's reaction, because he's like, you'll never break through that wall. And then they break through this wall very easily, and then they like are outside for a while before they even, before they even start going across the rope ladder. So that was pretty interesting. This whole thing where Luffy just seems off. Um, oh, another thing I wanted to bring up is this whole thing where they're like, there's giant wolves down there. In uh like in mythology, Loki has I believe it's a one of his kids is a wolf named Fenrir. So it's pretty interesting that there are other wolves down here. So could be could be kind of Oda using that. Um, so I also like that Luffy just kind of split up from them, and Zoro's just like, you like, what's wrong, Luffy? And he says, you feel that? I'm getting goosebumps. I heard something back in in the block country too. A roar. It's got to be coming from down there. I'm going on ahead. And so Luffy just jumps down there, which is a very Luffy move. Very Luffy moves here. Um, and then I actually really like this part. I wish we would have seen possibly whatever updated bounty Luffy got, because there's no way that he's not part of this whole Egghead incident, taking out Vegapunk and them giving them all this credit without them getting a significant bounty bump, right? I like that Dory and Broggy are also getting blamed for this, and their bounties actually changed. Per like, it's almost like Robin's like, well, due to inflation and the value of the berry going down, as if she's talking normal like politics. Um, so very interesting stuff. I wonder if that's going to affect Dory and Broggy in the future. Um, I like Frankie just being like, they're always trying to change the narrative. Um, and then Lilith being like, oh, so you guys killed me. Like, these are all just like really cool interactions that I really enjoy seeing here. Um, the only thing that I will say is weird about this chapter is we see no Bonnie, no Kuma. That was the one thing where I was like, huh, they're not even talking about Bonnie or Kuma at all. And we're not even seeing Bonnie or Kuma. So that's a little weird. But, It's really relatively small. In in all actuality. The little like Easter egg detail that they put into Luffy um just kind of uh oh shit, Mosh is in the chat and he said just read it, let's go. Yeah, this is getting crazy. Um so what I will say is it's really cool to see this whole thing, and it's cool that Robin pointed this out and was just like, wow, yeah, when Luffy turns that freedom form, does he get that mark on his arm? And then everyone was like, oh, he was hopping around too much for me to see. And it says his arm is blurry, but the mark is crystal clear, meaning like it's like a post edit production type thing where they put the mark after the fact and then they printed it, because like when you are doing like a printing press or something, there's so much you can do in the post. Obviously you take the picture or whatever, and the original print you take that is going to be copied, you make the mark on it, copy it, that mark stays there. So that just means that Vivi is, still with Big News Morgan. She made that mark on his arm to remind them of when they did that for her. And it's giving them a clue as to where she is. Love that. I love this part of the chapter. This is so incredibly well thought out by Oda and just in general. So I like how it was like, why worry about it, is what Frankie says. And then Robin said, it just seems familiar, which is funny because like everyone makes that joke where it's like Robin just like sitting in the Straw Hats cabin, just waiting for them to finish showing their arms off to Vivi as they're leaving Alabasta. So it's funny that she like wasn't there for it, but she's like, just seems familiar. Thought it was really good. Um, Saying that Luffy's part of, at the same caliber as Shanks is so cool. All this information about Loki, very interesting. Um, yeah, and it says here, it's like it started back when our captains were missing. They were missing for 100 years. That leaves open a pretty decent gap into how long and or where the Straw Hats were during, like, or where the Giants were during that. It leaves open a pretty uh big gap, I'll say. Calling him the accursed prince, he's devoted himself to darkness, was a very interesting choice of words. um because of the pentagrams that the Gorosei used, we thought was maybe like a black magic or something like that. So dedicating himself to darkness kind of fits with that. And then also being sentenced to crucifixion. He tried to flee, but we warriors all came together to catch him. And then saying he's not right in the head. You see, there's a legendary devil fruit said to be passed down through the royal family. His desire to eat it was so great that he killed his own father, King Harold. Um, so this doesn't explicitly say it, but we can draw the conclusion that there's a legendary devil fruit passed down through the royal family. His desire to eat it was so great that he killed his own father, King Harold. So he probably killed him and took it. This is similar, and I wonder if this is going to be something that they talk about, is people who are driven to kill for devil fruits. Similar to how Blackbeard also saw the darkness fruit and was like, it's almost like Blackbeard heard the will of the fruit calling out to him, and he immediately switched up and decided to kill. I wonder if we're going to get some more information on that through Loki's perspective and why he also did the same thing. That's why we won't let the accursed Loki or accursed prince loose ever again. If Loki ever does escape, it'll be the end of everything. This is referencing Ragnarok. Um, so this is very interesting that it's like it once if he ever does escape, it'll be the end of everything. That's what Ragnarok is. So this is referencing that we are going to have a Ragnarok level event in Elbaf, which will probably just set everything in motion in the future. Um, and then saying he's the shame of Elbaf. And I just love Loki's look. He does look really cool. Love the way Elbaf looked. It looks so cool. Like is so reminiscent of the World Tree and everything else. I love it. So this chapter to me is fantastic. So fantastic. I really enjoyed this chapter. Um I'm gonna say this chapter's a 9 for me. It's really good. um that's how I feel about it, and I feel like we're gonna have lots of conversations about what is happening here. Juan Sherry said on some Blackbeard timing. Yeah, exactly. We might get to see some of this craziness that is Blackbeard and Loki, and the things, and the devil fruits may have been the ones driving them to madness. So interesting. I love this chapter. This chapter is fantastic. This has given us so much in the ways of what we can think about for the future. All the theories on what Loki is doing, what is happening, and everything else. So I'm very excited. This 2 week break is needed. I'm hyped for it. I'm cool with it. You know, same with the anime. I'm cool with the breaks. You know, as long as we get, primo shit like this, I'm all for it. Um, but yeah, this was really good. Um, but yeah, that is where the chapter ends. It ends on such a crazy cliffhanger. This last like double page, back to back double page spread of Loki, and the one thing I would like to see is it looks like he has like a staff on his back or something. Like I wonder if it's similar to like his staff in like Marvel and shit like that. But very interesting stuff. I'm very interested to see where this goes. And the fact that everyone loves the sun god so much. Um and like, Roto basically pretended to be the sun god, and now this guy is like, I am the sun god who will bring about the end of the world. Loki, like, it could be very interesting. But yeah, so that is where I'm going to end it. It is going to be a nice little 2 week break, but don't you worry. I will be making sure that there's plenty of content over the next weekend or two, well, the next 2 weekends. So thank you guys so much for coming through. Seriously, it means the world to me. Um, Everyone who came through in the TikTok chat. Thank you so much to Mosh for coming through. And I just really appreciate you guys coming through. Please like the live if you can. Please also on the YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment. Do all the good stuff, and let me know your thoughts on this amazing chapter of One Piece. And definitely stay tuned for future content coming soon. Um, but yes, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. This chapter was a 9, maybe even a 9.5 the more I think about it, because of how great it was. And it was just it was what I feel like Oda always brings us on these, times where he takes these breaks, and he always brings us gas. and it's always a great cliffhanger that he leaves us on. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for coming through. Um, and thank you guys for sounding off in the chat. I love talking to you guys. I say it every stream, but One Piece is better as a conversation. And I love having that conversation with you guys and having these, having you guys sound off and just be able to talk it out with you guys. So thank you guys so much. Seriously, it means the world to me. So um, but I will be signing off. Thank you so much again, and you have a wonderful rest of your Friday.